We can do two things in this world. We can moan about what we're not seeing out there, or we can be what we would like to see. And I have seen a strengthening in this group around that level of compassionate conversation, where there is compassion for someone else. So, sure, we can all have a rough day. We can all be tired or stressed or triggered, and we don't necessarily say the highest thing. And you catch it and you're like, oh, I'm clearly a bit stressed because that came out my mouth. And that didn't feel good. That didn't feel the way I want to show up in the world. But the more we practice the higher way of being, the more expanded way of being, which has room for boundaries and has room for disagreement. It doesn't mean you have to just try and harmonize everything in the world, because you might not be able to harmonize everything in the world, or it might not be your job or your place to do that. So sometimes it's discernment too. It's knowing, oh, this conversation isn't for me. Oh, I'm never going to tell my friend to read that book again, because she clearly didn't like it when I just told her to go and read that book on how to gracefully get through a divorce. She'd really much rather bite his head off and keep telling me what an evil person he is. Okay, noted. Going to see her a little bit less at the moment because we're not jiving with each other, because I have a slightly different perspective and I'm not the one to help her with her wound right now, because it's not vibing with me to just sit there and in silence listen to that over and over again. Maybe 10 years ago I would have. Maybe 10 years ago I had my own experience around that. So it served me to kind of get in there with her and go, and it's okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with any of it. We're all just different stages of development. But what I'm really happy about, just on a personal level, not even as somebody who is leading this course, is witnessing just the clear, strong level of compassion and communication in this group. And I'm just called to tell you and remind you and ask you to really see that's a superpower. That's a superpower. That's not just you being nice. That's not just you learning to be soft and harmonic. That's a very, very powerful energy that so many in this group are holding. And I think part of the joy and the romance that's happening in the group at the moment, and I've seen so many saying, oh my God, this is a great group. It's beautiful because it gets to strengthen you to be in relationship with that same energy. But it also, in the strengthening, galvanizes that power in you, galvanizes that ability to be the compassionate voice in the room, so that when you're the compassionate voice in a room that's perhaps a little more triggered or a little less receptive to you, you're less wobbled by it, because you've developed a core of truth around it, thanks to practice in groups like this one, or with the friends that you have in your life, or the experiences that you have in your life, where your superpower of being a compassionate force on earth gets galvanized. And the more we galvanize that level of consciousness, okay. Sorry, I'm being given a word I don't like, but when I'm given words like that and I start to resist it, I'm kind of told I can't resist it. Okay, because it feels low frequency to me. So for the highly sensitive, forgive this word if it really triggers you, but it's the greatest weapon you could bring to the war of consciousness right now. The superpower of your sensitivity, the superpower of your compassion, the superpower of your vibration. It's the greatest weapon you could bring to the war of consciousness on the planet right now. What do I mean by that? I can hear some of you asking. The war of consciousness is the battle between the old that wants to hold on and that doesn't know how to evolve and doesn't know how to grow and wants to keep everything tight, which shows up in all of us in our own personal journeys, and it shows up in more gross or obvious ways sometimes in certain individuals that we see in the world or in certain systems or organizations. No names mentioned, no names needed to be mentioned. And there can be a heaviness, a frustration, a sadness that you can hold in your heart around the shadow that you see on the earth. There can be a, oh my God, this is just awful. I can't believe this is going on. But if you're seeing that shadow on the planet and you don't like it, you're not seeing yourself and seeing that you're also on the planet. And the very fact that you don't like it means you have a power that you can bring to it that can be transformative. And I understand that what I'm saying can sound like a lovely concept, but it's an absolute truth. Hi, please join me on June 21st, day of the solstice, for a special live and free broadcast called Vision, where I will be taking a look with you and with my guides at the coming 6 months, the remainder of the year, and what we can bring in and how we can navigate everything. So please join us. There will be a replay if you can't make it live. Just sign up at the link underneath the video.